Strawweight bout, Karolina Kowalkiewicz coming at -165 against Diana Belbita coming in at +135. Over under 2.5 rounds, -375 for the over, +275 for the under. Karolina, 3-2 in her last 5. 37 years of age. She's been around forever. 27 years of age for Diana Belbita, coming off a win. You see the frame there. I mean, 5'7", that's pretty tall for a strawweight. 68-inch reach. And like I said, coming off a win back in UFC 289 in Canada. That was a much-needed win for her. She was 1-3 in the UFC before that. She gets a win there. And she's getting a spot here against Karolina, who somewhat of a resurgence for her because she was on a 5-fight losing streak. Now she's on a 3-fight winning streak. And she's looked pretty good as of late. I mean, not the highest level of competition. You know, she kind of had to take a step back after that 5-fight losing streak. But wins over Felice Herrig, Silvana Gomez-Juarez, and Vanessa Demopoulos. And watching the film on that, she doesn't look 37 years of age. I mean, she looks pretty good on the feet. I would expect this one to take place on the feet. Diana Belbita, kickboxer, and a lot of her losses have come by submission. So I don't think she's really going to want to take it to the ground. Karolina, though, I mean, we saw the submission win against Felice Herrig. That's a path that she could go down, too. I mean, she's shown in her last few fights. She'll go for the takedowns, too. Last fight against Demopoulos, not somewhere that she wanted to be. She clearly had her outmatched on the feet, so she just kept it there. But maybe a path to get a finish in this one for her, maybe by submission. But I like Karolina in this one. Just because she's got that experience. I don't think Belbita's win over Maria Oliveira is anything like crazy. It wasn't like a dominant victory. It was a fairly close fight, all 3 rounds. Do think she won. But at the end of the day, I think Karolina just more experience, better all-around game, and I think she picks up a victory here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Karolina does too. You look at her record, and she did hit a really, really rough patch there at one point in the UFC on a 5-fight losing streak. But I mean, if you just skim over her record, she's fighting, Yao Shannon, Alexa Grasso, Michelle Waterson Gomez in 2019. You're getting 2018 Jessica Andrade, and losing to even Joanna Jędrzejczyk back in 2016 when Joanna was the champ, I believe, there. So, yeah, I mean, she's fighting the top girls in the division, and some of her losses come to really good fighters who are still at the top of the division. So you look at that compared to Diana Belbita. I mean, it's night and day, the level of competition each of these fighters are fighting. I got to lean with the experience on Karolina. Belbita looked good in her last fight against Oliveira. It was a unanimous decision win, but she didn't do anything that really, blew you away by any means. Her striking, she outlanded Oliveira on the feet, looked pretty good doing it, but not a lot of sting on her shots. She's not going to go out there and knock out Karolina by any means. I think Karolina, maybe the more physical fighter as well here. Both girls throw pretty good volume, but I think that experience factor just takes over against a girl like Belbita, who's, 2-3 now in the UFC and losing to girls like Gloria DePaula in her last fight before Oliveira. So that's not really a good sign to me. I think Maria Oliveira was probably just, not a good fighter, not UFC level, and she got the win there. I don't think she comes out and walks over Karolina Kowalkiewicz. So, yeah, I got to go with Karolina in this fight as well.
Only thing that scares me in this one is women's MMA.
Yeah.
When it gets down to like the judging, this fight is super favored to go to a decision. It's pretty subjective as far as, who's hitting harder. They both land a good amount of volume. A 6.59 for Belbita compared to 5.65 for Karolina. Longer career in the UFC to pick from for Karolina, but they both throw a lot of volume. I would encourage Karolina to maybe try to mix in a takedown or two, maybe try to look for a submission to get it done. She'll be the pick for me, but like I said, the only thing that scares me is just the judging, and that's kind of something that you got to think about nowadays with the weird judging that we're getting. But yeah, she'll be the pick for me.